Hey guys, welcome back to Don't Be Gentle. I'm Dylan, and my guest today is responsible for a lot of our laughter over the past 5 to 10 years. Aside from working on shows like Broad City, Younger, and New Girl, he's now written a new book of autobiographical essays that is entitled The Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Gay. And not only is it aptly titled, it's also fucking hilarious. Everyone, please welcome Eliot
Thank
Glazer.
you. Thank you for saying that. That's
Bro,
wonderful.
I mean, I was texting you while reading this book. I
Yeah.
kept sending him like little highlights and stuff because there's just so many little Easter eggs and
Thank
gems in
you.
it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like the goal was to make a book, to write a book that was like funny first
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
like, vulnerable second, but like trying to combine the two without, I just never wanted to get into that space where it's like literature,
Right. And like
And
masturbatory and stuff. It's,
yeah,
yeah.
I couldn't do that. And like sometimes books can be really funny, and yet the book is like your laughter is sort of like a, like a titter.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like I wanted to write a book that like hopefully makes you guffaw,
No, yeah, there were
laugh out
some
loud.
very audible moments
That's
where I
great.
was I was chuckling like
Yeah,
mad loud at
that's the
this.
best. Honestly, the best compliment I could get.
Well, and I'm like a big fan, a huge fan of David Sedaris and like people like
Yes.
that. And so like this felt very much in the vein of like it has serious subject matter, but it very much embraces the idea of like you have to laugh at it,
Yeah,
you know?
because what other way? I mean, I don't know another way to really get through stuff.
Yeah.
Like turn it like instinctively. It's like it's just always been turned into comedy for me, and so yeah, doing that in the book made a lot of sense.
I think that's why like comedy writers can do what they do because you guys are able to, restructure things into something funny, kind of as a coping mechanism, but
Very much, yeah.
also helps you, get your bread and
Process.
butter too,
Yeah,
you
well,
know?
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's part of it too. Is like really trying to I call it like comedy math. Like there's like we do in like a writer's room. There's comedy math where you're all working together to sort of solve a problem because
Yeah.
in the math there's rhythm. There's like
Yes. Oh
who's
yeah.
saying what. There's a real like rhythm and it's not that even that different from music.
Yeah, no, it's formulaic for
Yeah,
sure. Like
yeah.
there's a structure and there,
There's a way to
yeah.
make like to like turn like to sort of turn the joke or go A to C and surprise people with punch. So it's like I really tried to imbue that into the book where it's very much like comedy first, like it's me, it's super autobiographical, but I try to turn up the language just a little bit so that it's like
Yeah.
real comedy. And David Sedaris is of course one of my heroes,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
he's
yeah.
like a wit, and like Fran Lebowitz is like a
Fran
wit.
Lebowitz, yeah, it's like they have like it's like a biting wit
It's a
too.
bite, yeah.
And it's because I've heard her say she's always right because she's never fair.
Yeah,
And so
yeah,
it's like it's a biting wit that doesn't care. It's like a wit that we're all laughing.
of
It's all like we're
course.
all in on the joke, but it's not fair. It's not like a fair. It's not taking into account
No.
anyone's like, what? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
it's not meant to appease. It's not meant for you.
right.
It's meant for her.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
but how could
We
you
just also
we
get to
love
laugh
it.
at
Yeah,
it.
we get
Yeah.
to laugh. Yeah.
It's so good. Yeah, there's so many really good niche like little references in there. Please tell me that the bluest tooth is a reference to the bluest eye by Toni Morrison.
I thought it was so some people have said that and I'm like, yes, it was a little bit of that, but it was more so like Bluetooth.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I
Yeah,
should
didn't
say
even think about that.
yes, it's absolutely a reference to
Yes, the
Morrison. Yes,
Pulitzer.
very
Yeah.
much,
Yeah.
very much. No,
How intellectual.
I didn't realize that until after the fact when people brought it up. They're like, "Oh my god, a Toni Morrison reference." And I'm
All I
like,
yes.
"Yes, Toni Morrison, yes."
I read the chapter and I actually like audibly shouted
Oh my
because
God.
I was like the bluest tooth. And one of my favorite lines in that chapter was when with the Bluetooth where you said you looked like Takashi 69 at a wake.
I did. I looked, I looked embalmed. Like I just looked like such a weirdo with a fake tooth in the front, like Smurf colored blue. Like what a disaster.
But it all worked out though.
It all
Thank
worked
God
out.
for that hookup.
Yeah,
For
that weird relationship.
yeah. So without like talking about too many inside jokes here, kind of like in a collate a small little like synopsis of the tone and the message of the book real quick for people.
The book is really just me chronicling, over 20 years of doing gay bad, doing it wrong.
Boom.
And so it's all just, comedic, autobiographical, memoir style essays about how I just continue to fail and attempt to do better, but I just fail over and over at doing gay right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to do that because
Yes.
we are subject to this like one schematic of how to be a gay man that's pushed in the media.
Yes.
And so it's so easy to be like, I don't know if I fit within those parameters, like, or I don't really exist in the
Yeah,
same way.
I
So,
call it like I call it homonormativity,
yeah.
where it's like this that yeah, like you said, there's this like blueprint that's both like in the media and sort of like replicated by each other.
Yeah.
I think because it's a way of coping and
Mm-hmm.
a form of safety. But at the same time, like there really is no actual blueprint. You know, the
Yeah.
way that like straight people get a
Right.
blueprint. You know, from the moment they're born, there's like a real map as to like how to do things. We don't have that,
No.
and so I've just been dying for years to find other people who can mirror
Yeah.
my own bafflement. Like it's like frustration, but also like bafflement, and it's turned for me. It's definitely turned from being like frustrated and almost tantruming to this more widened ability to observe, to like have perspective and be able to observe and like poke fun, but like lovingly, and making myself the
Yeah.
joke first and foremost.
Yeah, like find commonality and then kind of like I like to just like laugh at the different idiosyncrasies as I like observe them and while also recognizing that I'm one of them in there,
Well,
you
that's
know?
the thing. Like we all sort of contain these multitudes, you
Yeah.
know, as like and gays are by no means a monolith, you know, and we
Correct,
know that
yeah.
of course, but I think it's easy to get sucked into the narrative of it all and to see it and to observe it and then want to participate in it. You know, a big like I did my sister's podcast earlier this year, and this clip seemed to really resonate with a lot of queer people and specifically gay guys, where I'm just talking about how I can observe so often these like big group trips of gay guys on vacation and groups
Yeah,
of like
right.
a dozen, and they all look very similar, you know, similar bodies, and it's kind of an astounding thing to see. And I think like, you know, God, I'd love to just be invited. I would not want to go, but I would just love the invitation, you know? And it's like I can't shed that. And it's crazy
Yeah.
because it's like I would not by any means enjoy myself in that sort of spread, you know? It's just not I know I
Yeah.
wouldn't enjoy myself, but there's always this like sense of FOMO and yearning to be included in some way that I know now that I am and on my own terms, but it's taken a long time to get there.
Yeah, I think it's because we're human, and when that has been the blueprint for so long, that specific group, it's like
Yeah.
you have to look this perfect, and you have to have this in common. You got to go to these places. Stuff. We've all of us gay men have been that's been funneled into our psyche for so long through
Yes.
the media and stuff, and through pop culture, and so I think we're just kind of like I don't like the term victim, but we're all victims of yearning for belonging to
Yeah.
that sense. And I think that's the process that we're now all doing is figuring out where our individual unique place is in that. And I think that's something that will like heal in time because we're all subject to it.
Of
I don't want
course.
to go on there. I don't want to go on those trips
Right.
because I know I have nothing in common with these guys.
I right.
But same thing, just also in my personal life with all my friends, there are plenty of things that I would like to be invited to that I wouldn't necessarily want to go to.
Right.
But it's just knowing that I'm being considered.
That's all you want is to be considered, and yeah, but also like fitting in, like it's if you're already in a minority group like gay people, queer people, it's like well you found it, you're here, and it's like safe, but then it's a bummer when you feel left out or when you
Yeah.
feel it's not even feeling like unsafe, it's just like you just want to be considered in that way.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think the homonormativity comes in that it's easier to try to fit in and find a place that's like stasis and
Right.
not stand out too much. And I've
Yeah.
yearned so long for people who are like, I also feel like I feel like a mess, like I'm doing it wrong, you know? So part of the book is sort of a love letter to my younger self and sort
Yeah.
of giving young me somewhat of a blueprint or at least permission to be weird and do it wrong. And that will ultimately be what sort of
Right.
gets me on the right path, which is knowing and cherishing my ability to stand out for the weirdness and for the
Correct, yeah.
aloofness and you know uniqueness, I guess.
Yeah. This is a perfect segue. I'm gonna basically go through a bunch of my favorite quotes.
Sure.
But this is a perfect segue into one where you said, real growth doesn't come from staying neat and symmetrical. Living in what's supposed to be a linear, logical world doesn't make us tidy. We're all made of shards, demons and desires, eccentricities and echoes, fragments shaped by what we know, what we've buried, and what we've inherited. In one way, I feel like I could say that maybe like right now we're living in our most like superficial form because of like social media and stuff where
Totally.
how we appear and how
Yes.
people perceive us right now. I think it's overconsumption of media too. And I also think that like this like ego building phase that we're in that we've labeled as like self-care, which creates this like world of one
Yes.
in us.
Yeah.
It's like we're hyper focused on us rather than us as a member of a larger group,
Yeah, totally.
you know? And I don't know.
But I think it's also like, you know, that like to me, I know we all have demons
Yeah,
and
of course.
eccentricities and quirks, but I guess I've always felt like hungry to find other gay guys, whether as friends or as
Mm-hmm.
partners or whatever, who can wear those with pride,
Right.
and not hide that stuff.
Yeah.
Because it feels, at least in my experience, like it's like we're all trying to be like clean and tidy about this stuff,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like, no, I want to know what makes you fucking
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to know that.
Uh-huh.
Feed me that.
Well, yeah, and like I think there has been this idea that's like kind of circulated in culture where it's like love people as they are, love people for like their quirkiness and stuff, and it's been this sort of like this like nebulous theme that's like existed in the zeitgeist for a while, but we're still all like pursuing this perfection thing,
Yeah, I call it
you
like
know?
rainbow washing. Like it's sort of this
Uh-huh.
like this strange corporate pride mentality that's kind of washed over everything where it's like, like I have pride, but like rainbow is like I'm not going to wear that.
No,
Like
same.
that's not for
Just because
me.
I don't like the look of it,
Exactly.
you know?
But I feel like it's, you can't really say that because then you get in trouble because it sounds like you're throwing the community under the bus. And it's like, no, 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 it's not that. It's just like, I'd love something a little bit more pastel or something more, something that's a
Yeah,
little softer in tone.
yeah.
But yeah, that it feels like that obviously is the flag. Those are the colors.
Mm-hmm.
And so people sort of, I feel like this there's this need to sort of acquiesce to that and
Yeah.
let that shape you. And I just don't think, I mean, honestly, like being in New York, I love, oh, it's such a diverse
Mm-hmm.
flavor of queerness. Like it's just so diverse
Mm-hmm.
in the spectrum of what that looks like. And I just cherish it so much.
Yeah, do you think that as the population as a whole, do you think that we are moving closer to like truly embracing like people's messiness, or do you think it's just like a sales pitch?
God, I don't know. I don't know. I mean,
Because like TikTok and everything and on social media, it's like everybody's like, yeah, be messy,
be
show your
you.
quirkiness,
Yeah.
but then everyone's doing the exact same thing, looking the same way, presenting this perfect product, and I'm like, you don't let us see your messiness.
Yeah, I honestly I don't know. I don't know, and I don't use TikTok because I'm like genuinely freaked out by it. This.
And I've never felt like TikTok in particular, I feel like is fully controlled by like the algorithm thing because
Oh
there's
yeah,
no explore page or anything.
right.
It's just what they show you,
Yeah, and
you know?
it's not technically like it's not really consensual. It's like you're fed this
Yeah,
stuff and you don't know
exactly.
why.
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, I do think there's sort of like a softening happening.
The softening.
The softening, but I don't know. I don't know if it's hard to tell because authenticity is now a brand, and if you're
Yeah.
performing authenticity, then what are you actually doing? That's why I mean the nature of like social media is so hard for me to wrap my head around sometimes because you are not like how do you perform candidness, how do
Yeah, you
you're
can't.
performing, you can't do
Exactly.
it. You can't perform like there's not a camera on you,
Yeah.
and so it's that you're doing to yourself.
Right.
So I don't know, it's very like I don't
Yeah.
know, it's inflexible in that way to me, but so to participate you have to kind of like live and agree to the rules of the vacuum, which is like
Yeah.
this is the closest I'm going to get too candid.
Yeah,
This is the
that's
closest-
allowed
it's
before
allowed.
people think it's cringe.
But
and,
everyone
like,
thinks it's. But everyone, I feel like it's like we all have to believe it. We
Right.
all have to pretend to believe it, and that kind of blows my mind because it's like, no one forced you to take. Like, who took this? Who took this picture?
Yeah,
Who
you
took
set up
this?
the tripod
You did
and
that.
acted vulnerable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing is because like a lot of my content is all like outside from the podcast is like just talking about things that, I don't hear people talking about, or things that like might feel a little uncomfortable just because I want the conversation to happen.
Sure.
And like, yeah, there's a presentational element to it. And so it's like, that's just kind of par for the course.
But you have to agree to that.
Exactly.
And that's what makes it odd to me, I think. And because I have to do it myself.
Yeah.
And it's just like an odd contract to sign where we're all agreeing that like this is not all produced.
Right.
Nobody forces you to press post. Ever.
Right, exactly.
No one's holding your thumb, you know what I mean?
You can, that's why experiencing it tangibly in person has a whole different effect.
Completely.
Yeah.
Totally different
Absolutely.
effect.
Yeah. Another quote that I especially resonated with was where you said, I was being paid a compliment, and yet I couldn't help but throw an immature, passive-aggressive hissy fit in which the conversation became a game of me playing aggressively naive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can completely attest to that in my own life because I am so bad at accepting a compliment.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think part of it is because I'm worried that if I accept it and believe it and acknowledge it, that at that moment someone's going to contradict it and I'm going to come off as like the fool and like the narcissist who fell for the joke.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You don't want to fall for it because like immediately you're just waiting for that next shoe to drop.
Yeah.
To be made to look like you
Oh my God, I can't believe he believed that.
Exactly. Yeah. You got indulgent in it. Yeah, I mean,
it's like I'm always afraid someone's going to pop around the corner and be like, but don't believe it. Don't get too big of a head.
Right.
Don't get too slick. And I'm like, okay, how about I just self-deprecate until I die? How about
right.
that,
but that's a defense mechanism. It's like
I know.
One or the other. You have to.
What do you think that reaction stems from?
Well, that reaction for me was like back like years ago, like people were, because of like Broad City, people were like saying like I was a hot bear, and I was so ashamed of being thought of as like fat because of my own shit, and also I didn't really understand or comprehend the vastness of what like bear is and bear culture. So I was a fucking bitch, and I was tantruming like a bitch without actually taking time and perspective to realize that these people who were saying these things were just paying compliments.
Yeah, it's a term of endearment for them.
It's a term of endearment, and I was
bears are hot right now. Bears they're leading the way.
Yeah, and like if people call me that now, I'm like, okay, like genuinely, like okay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like it's all pretty silly to me because I could also just be like, well, I identify as like, a mongoose or like, like a woolly mammoth or something because it's all kind of silly.
Yeah, of course.
The labels are all very silly.
No, so much of gay culture is just based in silliness. I mean, look at our vernacular, like "Yes, Mama, work" and all that.
Of course,
it's silliness, and it's because it's all part of like a celebration of things not being too serious.
Yes, I think that's true, but I also think it's limiting in the sense that, like, look, at the time I was like, well, you're calling me fat, and it's like, I don't think, that's my own stuff.
That's your crap, yeah.
I'm just projecting. So now I look back at that and I'm humiliated that I would have responded like that. Absolutely humiliated. But now I can sort of take anything anybody says in stride because, like, I know who I am. I know where my insecurities are or where they're not. And, like, I know who I am. I know how I feel. And
I've never found myself in a place in my day-to-day life where I needed to use a term like that to pitch myself to anyone. So, like, it's really not useful at all.
Well, I mean, like, that's the thing. Like, I feel like in gaining perspective on it, as silly as I think it is a term of endearment for people who want to use it to apply it to themselves. Like, I guess, like, it's like on Grindr and Sniffies and stuff. Like, you can pick your tribe. And I've always just been like, I just thought it was silly, and then other people have said to me like, yeah, but it's also a way that gay guys will find camaraderie. They'll find like-minded community looking for whatever that is.
The community aspect of it.
And so at that point, I'm like, well, then that's also great. Like, I don't have to. We can do whatever we want. We can choose to use one of them, not choose to use one of them.
Yeah.
But it's not my place to yuck somebody's yum. Like, I don't care. I don't want, like, and if to say that any of that to me is like, I know myself and I know what I'm interested in, not interested in, and I don't need that kind of terminology. But anybody who wants to use it, God bless. Like, bless them.
Yeah.
Bless them.
Yeah, and it's like, Yeah, it's all been like it's just a part of like the light silliness of the it's like
Yes.
subculture, you know. And I think
I was just taking it too seriously.
yeah, when I was younger, when I like just graduated college, I had like no muscle mass whatsoever. I was like like just naturally I'm like this.
Yeah.
And so I people used to always say that I was just a big twink, the
Right.
tallest twink.
Wow.
The next chapter.
Oh my God.
And I had the same reaction. I was like, I'm not a twink. I'm 6'4". And so,
Right.
so it was like, what the fuck?
But isn't it odd to be like I have to like I do think there is an oddness to people telling you what you are based on your body and what they
Yeah.
think about your body.
I think it's usually used to maybe describe someone else to a person. Like say like, oh, like what is he like? I don't know. He's like a bear or whatever.
Right.
I don't think really
But
people.
these people said it to you.
Wait, what?
People said to you, you're
Yeah.
the tallest twink.
Yeah,
And you
yeah,
didn't
yeah.
feel that way. And all
No.
I'm saying is that it's just like
Yeah.
it's so odd for me
You
to
to
tell
identify me
you
to me, yeah.
what your body like like I don't know, even in this book tour people have been like, you know, you used to be fat. You used to be fat. They just throw it out there and I'm like, "Huh, like it's just
Wow.
it's kind of astounding." And it's like it's just like to comment to tell me how you experienced my body.
Yeah.
It's just it blows my mind.
That's also just like, you got some fucking nerve, dude.
I-
That's just bizarre to me. I don't know. Like the fact there's
Well, they
so
think
much.
they think it's a compliment,
Sure, of course.
and I'm like, and I'm sort of left.
They don't mean it
speechless 'cause-
maliciously.
Not at all.
Yeah.
I know personally, I don't think I could. I don't think I could live with myself if I told, you know, even saying to like a woman like you look great. It's like I don't know. She doesn't necessarily want to hear that. You know, it's
Yeah.
not my place to comment on somebody else's body to them. It's I don't know. I find it like it's just kind of like a landmine.
Yeah, I try to really just keep the perspective in my mind of like how I interpret their intentions.
Yes.
So like just
Which is very smart.
Yeah, in life in general, I'm not really offended by any sort of generalization about me. I'm only really offended when something is like pointedly aimed at me. Like
Yes.
for instance, if somebody tells me like you're like a rude piece of shit, you're mean spirited, whatever, and they say something like that to me, I will take offense to that because it's pointedly aimed at me.
Well, that's about your personality and
Yeah.
how you treat people in the world.
Right. If someone says like, "Oh, you're a tall white man," blah blah, whatever, I don't give a fuck. There's probably some truth to whatever you're saying, and also I don't care.
Right.
If they generalize me, I'm like, that's you being short-sighted and whatever. But if you say something pointedly at me, that's whenever I
Yeah, about your actual like who you are inside.
Yeah,
that can
yeah.
be that's painful.
Yeah, and
or lovely. Or
Yeah.
if it works, if it's
Yeah,
a
if
compliment,
it's-
it's like
yeah.
it can be really endearing and validating. But I don't know, the body is a different thing to me. Telling somebody what their
Yeah.
body looks like, it's different for everybody. But I just feel like I couldn't do that because it's like when people say to you, you know who you look like, and it's like, oh Jesus,
Oh God, it better be somebody hot.
please. And I've gotten to the point where I've said like, you know what?
I don't need
you don't
that.
have to tell me. That's okay. You're like, no, I have to show you. It's like a friend of a friend. And I'm like, no, it's okay. Put your phone away. I don't want to know because it's been bad in the past.
Well,
It's
also
been bad.
with our bodies, we're always in a constant state of flux with our bodies,
Well,
or at least
yeah.
I feel like that.
Yeah.
So I'm like, can we just not address it? Because I really never feel great.
But that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. You really never feel great. So it can't necessarily help when somebody's
Yeah.
like, let me tell you
Yeah,
how
yeah.
you look right now. And it's like, this is not.
It's also
productive.
asinine. It's also asinine because how you perceive my body is different from how other people perceive
Exactly.
it. So I can't even use that for anything.
Which is why when I write about this stuff in the book about like being called a bear, I also talk about how in the same breath, I went to lunch with my friend and his grandmother.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the meal, when I got up, she went, "Oh my God, you cut a nice figure." And I was like, what? But it's like, it was crazy because it's like, she sees me differently than maybe a gay guy who calls me something or, you know what I mean? Like, our bodies are in flux. People see us differently. It's all subjective.
Correct.
And that's why it's so silly. Because somebody can call me a twink. Somebody can call you a wolf or a who knows what.
Otter.
An otter. And then I can call somebody a mongoose or a parrot or something. And it's like, they're all silly.
It's all silly,
It's all
yes.
subjective. So, yeah, at the end of the day, I that's kind of why
The
I don't know.
silliness of subculture.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I had to learn for my own like well-being to just not take it so seriously. That was
definitely.
the big shift.
That's especially in your 30s.
Oh,
That's what I loved about when my 30s hit. Everything was like, bitch, who the fuck cares?
who
You know,
cares?
it's like you stop, you release a little bit. And
Yes.
that's when I started to gain the perspective of like, let me consider their intentions rather than their words, because you know how they say we judge others by their actions, but we judge ourselves by our intentions.
Yeah.
So we'll say, "Oh, you said this to me," and they will be like, well, you said that to me too. And I say, yeah, but I didn't mean it like that.
Right.
You know? So I'm just like, I when I know your intentions,
Yes.
if it's something, whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
But you're not wrong. It's like the context matters.
It does. It does matter.
And
yeah.
when somebody's like just sort of nonchalantly, saying something about you or your body or calling you something, you're right. There is a question of like whether they mean well or they're being careless and it actually hurts your feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to combine some two juicies
Yeah.
right now. You said, I was a generally liked kid teetering on the edge, so one wrong jazz hands forward would mean full disclosure of my deepest secret. And then combined with, that tends to happen when societal homophobia stunts your growth, pushing your actual adolescence back years after not necessarily laying out the timeline afforded to everyone else. For those of you listening, what that essentially means is the gay male experience is negatively affected by the fact that we, for so long, have to like hide in plain sight. You know, like straight kids, they can live fully unabashed because their like lifestyle fits the mainstream.
They've been given the blueprint.
Yeah, exactly.
I always say like
the accepted blueprint.
yes, and the world is essentially a it's a playground for people for straight people. It just is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everything is at their disposal.
But I think that like when you come out as queer, gay, lesbian, wherever you fall on the spectrum, when you come out as that, to me, I'm like, oh, that's when you're now 12. Because now
you have to now go back and redo and do all the work.
Because you're only now allowed to essentially
correct
exist authentically like a 12-year-old kid does when they have a crush or a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Like they can do that then,
Yep.
and now you can finally start. So I always try to like for myself and also like friends like give grace, because it's like we have to blossom sort of late, and then
much later.
Try to catch up, which is itself like unto itself a challenge.
Yeah, and that's what I try to convey to a lot of people about why so much of the gay male experience later on, there's so much work that we then have to do later, because you have to realize how different your adolescence is experienced when you're worried about being found out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. For me, it was like this was all like during like Y2K high school and like late 90s, early 2000s. And so the era of that was very, very toxically masculine. And I was on Long Island, which is like super like Italian, Irish Catholic macho. And so it was like being gay was the secret, but being femme was the tell.
Yeah.
And so I had to sort of, I was able to pass, but I lived in constant fear of being found out. And so it's like, that's obviously very damaging. And so to work through, I mean, my therapist is gay, and he's like, gay guys, there's a lot to unpack, and it lingers with us. That inner child like lingers with us for a long time.
Yeah, it's like you say, we're playing catch up for a very long time.
Yes, and it's very hard for us, even as a group, to finally reach our potential in the way that I think women do it much better.
Well, and also like, I mean, some of us we're not having our first love until our late 20s, early 30s.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's
so
what
it's
I
like
mean.
things that like, and it's because we had to edit ourselves for so long. We had to do the time step of like, okay, I'm masculine enough to make sure that I don't, and so we don't breathe into ourselves until so much later.
No, there's a real like need for like healing.
Yeah.
With I think for everybody, but I feel like for gay men, at least in my experience, it's like it's really hard to heal that inner child who had to hide, who had to do this dance, who had to, and like there's that shame that you really, really, really have to like erode and like just shave down.
Yes.
It's always there.
You're always chipping away these layers that are still these layers that were formed in you when you were being formed as a young adolescent
Yes.
that still affect how you approach people.
And I don't know about you, but I grew up in a really loving liberal household with parents. I told my parents first. I came out to them first in high school.
Yeah.
So I don't come from I'm lucky and grateful that I don't come from a house where it wasn't welcome and tolerated, but you were, right. So it's like I think of that as so much harder. Obviously, like I didn't contend with that. But even so, it's like the shame is still societally baked in. And
Yeah,
so
of
it's a matter of
course.
like crawling out of this hole, and it takes a long time.
Yeah, because also like you're human and we want the general population to accept us. It's not just our families.
Of
You know?
course. No,
The
it's
family's
both.
important, but yeah, it's like you, and also it's just like when you see something that's labeled as right in front of you all the time, you think, okay, well that's what's right, so that's what I need to do.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's a challenge.
I'm curious as to how the current generation, how that's all going to develop, because they're living in a time where the taboo has worn off.
Oh, fully.
For the most part. Even like when I go back home to Louisiana, all of my friends who are now parents, they were all great about me coming out. They're
Sure.
so cool with me being gay. And so I'm like, so that is going to let some steam out of the pot.
Oh, totally.
You know, so that's one hopeful.
I mean, I feel
know.
like like from big cities to smaller ones, like the normalcy of like trans kids or like gender non-identifying, gender non-binary, like the gender spectrum among kids is, I think, much more welcome and understood by both kids and parents. I mean, it's not easy. That would be a huge generalization. But I feel like anecdotally in my own life, which to be fair is very like coastal and liberal, but like the sort of ubiquitousness of like kids who are queer or gender non-conforming at a young age, they're now allowed to figure it out with some room to breathe. And so that makes me feel good.
If you could go back to just being that little Long Island kid, now with the cultural adaptation of the current generation, how would you have gone about as a child and like lived your life?
You mean like if young me had the ability to live in like the current political climate?
Correct.
Oh man.
Like if you were able to live in the world that is now less taboo about it,
Oh,
how do you
wow.
think you would have expressed yourself as a youth?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know because it was never like I mean, I still was sort of like a funny kid and was like deflecting a lot through like comedy and doing bits all the time. I was still doing like theater
Yeah.
and singing and
Yeah,
performing,
yeah,
which is
yeah.
a tell, but I was overcompensating by trying to be like a bro, like a theater bro, like just doing like Guys and Dolls. Like it's like this is what it, like
One of those seven brothers.
just
and
let's say it,
seven
like
brothers.
just me and like Into the Woods, like no big deal. I was really
Yeah.
trying to like deflect in that way. Whereas now, God, I mean, if it were the current political climate, I think I just would have probably been able to, I was always like, obviously it was like a big secret and you're protecting the secret at all costs. But if the times were different, I think I would have been able to gently explore without fear of repercussion.
Yeah.
But again, like it wasn't just the cultural climate. It was like, I think geographically, like where I grew up was so macho that it was like you were more in danger of being seen as like effeminate and not macho and masculine more than like gay.
Okay, yeah.
And so that was really the
Yeah,
scariest thing.
they're like, okay, so you're gay as long as you're a top.
Not honestly, like God, could you imagine?
That what's so funny is that like that's what I kind of experienced when I came out back home. Like I didn't come out till I had moved away, but there was a few like oldies, a few boomers who whenever they found out about it, they were like, well, "Are you at least bisexual? Because then like you could maybe be with a woman at some point, you know?
Whoa.
And so it's like, you can be gay as long as like you're a top, because then if you bottom at all, then it's like, then you're like the submissive, and that's the thing to be shameful of.
But that's
bottom
the thing.
shaming.
But that's internal too. We do
No,
that.
yeah, then exactly, it gets transferred into us.
It's transferred into us. The idea of like
you're lesser than and you're less strong because you give over instead of taking control.
It's so wild that we do that to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's so crazy, but like that's how patriarchal the system is.
Yeah.
That like and it makes sense. It's like men feel this need to dominate and to have some sort of aggressive mentality and lead with that behavior, even if it's like beneath, even if it's like repressed. There still feels like this code that men follow, which is why I always say it's like being in a relationship or trying to navigate relationships and stuff. It's like two big dumb boys, like big baby boys, like just kind of like hitting each other like with their boners, like figuring out like what are we doing, But it's because it's, again, there's no blueprint. So like naturally, of course, there's going to be bottom shaming, because you have to be told otherwise from within the community before you can really learn that. And that's why. But that to me is wild, that it's like you have people saying like, well, maybe you're bi, which gives you an out, and also
which gives you an out,
and also if you're a top, like that's crazy too. That's crazy that people would say that to you.
As it's like, even within accepting that I'm gay, there's still another qualifier that we are subjected to.
Still another qualifier. That is wild. That's a wild thing to
also,
hear.
Also, can you like stay the fuck out of my sex life?
Well, that's that's also part of it too. It's like,
why are you thinking about me having sex? Gay.
But that's the thing, when you have to. That also is. I have a friend who said, like, when he came out, he was like, somebody asked him like, when you came out, and he was like, well, I didn't really come out. He's like, I didn't feel like I was staying in. He's like, I just was who I was, and I didn't feel the need. And I love this anecdote. He's like, I didn't feel the need to like signal to my grandma who I want to fuck.
Right.
And I was
because
like,
that's fucking weird.
It is weird. And you're not asking straight people how they want to fuck, what they're into. I mean, obviously it's helpful if the onus is taken off, or like the taboo of sexuality is removed, so they can be more open about it and whatever, conversational. But it's bizarre to think of somebody being like, well, let me ask you about your very personal sex life. Let me ask a 14-year-old, so you like boy, like it's just, it is invasive. And so my friend saying, I just didn't feel like telling my grandma who I wanted to fuck, was a great way of being both true to who he is, and also feeling like he didn't, in his own interesting way, having pride and not feeling the need to validate to others what he is when it comes to sex.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's like, because like we don't ask straight people. I don't ask straight guys like, what do you like her to do with your balls?
Exactly. Yeah, tell me. That's what I mean. It's wild that you have these people who are just asking you about what you do with your dick and butt. Not asking you, demanding you give them answers.
I think it's because it's a part of a part of gay culture that straight culture can use as this funny tool to like cartoonize us and like caricaturize us.
Yeah.
It's like,
it makes it make sense.
Yeah. And like, I don't think it's like done maliciously. It's just, it's
I don't
a way
think so either.
I think it's a way for straight people to try to like figure us out and like understand us. And I'm like, I get it. But also like, we don't like being defined by that, because a lot of us sort of oscillate in and out of stuff. And so I'm like, I'm not going to, another label, boring.
That's what I mean. It's like we're complicated. Everyone's different. Everyone's complicated, has nuances. And so it's like, to assign us as one thing is I just find it silly. Yeah.
I think if I lived with the current like climate of things, I think I would have just like aesthetically embraced things that I liked more. So like I grew up in the South. I grew up in a very rural area on a farm and stuff. But I've always loved like shiny, vibrant, sparkly things,
Mm-hmm.
and I would have had more stuff like that. There's this one memory that I have of me and my dad that like really has stuck with me, and it's made me more empathetic towards my dad, who rocks. My dad fucking rocks, dude. And he's like this macho like farmer, but he was like so cool about me
Yeah.
coming out. But I was a complicated kid to figure out when I was in the closet, and now I have empathy for him for trying to figure that out,
Yes,
because there was
totally.
this one moment when I was at Walmart with him, and I wanted. Do you remember in like the late '90s when they had those stuffed animal backpacks, when it was like a frog or a bear or
Sure.
something, and it was the stuffed animal had like a little zipper in the back you could put stuff in, and it was a backpack.
Yeah.
I wanted one so badly, dude, because my sister had one, and I felt like if I asked for that, my dad
He
would be,
would.
you know.
Right.
So instead, I asked for this other like very bland thing. It was like a book or something or whatever, and we got in the car, and I was like still like visibly like disappointed, and my
Yeah.
dad was like, "I got you the thing you asked for. What else do you want?"
Right.
And the frustration of like him trying to figure me out, and the whole confusion was because I edited myself,
Yeah.
and I took the safe route, you
Right.
know,
Right.
which like he probably wouldn't have given a fuck, you
Well,
know.
I'm also like, you know, I never grew up on a farm. And so anytime I'm in like a really small place, which is not that often, but like when I think about that, I'm like, oh my God, like, of course, my experience was in the New York suburbs. So it
Yeah.
was, you know, obviously populous, and I had my own experience there that was very colored by like the sort of the people there.
Yeah.
But the idea of that, of you harboring that secret in like a rural area, like on a farm where you have no exposure,
Yeah.
is so different. And so I think it only proves the point that like everyone experiences this differently, and which is why there is so much shame that we have to work on to get rid
Yeah.
of and to erode in ourselves so that you can sort of reach your full potential. I think, you know, I don't know if it's silly or not, but like, you know, to say everything is different for everybody, but yeah, like
No,
that
I-
difference is that experience
Yeah.
is so different from mine, and yet we were both hiding in plain sight, but
Yeah.
having to navigate it in different terrains.
There is a thread of continuity that no matter what your personalized experience was, you do share it with anyone who like lives hiding in plain sight.
Well,
basically.
did you ever have anybody who you could share that secret with?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, me either.
I didn't have any gay people in my life. I didn't really have any flamboyant person in my life, really. That's why I didn't come out until I went to college in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So I played the part up until the second I left.
Yes.
You know, I was very involved in like youth group in high school. I courted a girl all through high school. You know, I was doing the whole acting thing up until right whenever I left, and then I kind of like let my freak flag fly, you know.
But you're not even like, but it's not even like a freak flag. It's like you get to
just living
just
authentically,
being you. Yeah, just
Yeah.
doing the thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did this. It was the same thing. It's just so interesting. I don't know. There was a show on HBO called We're Here that was like
Yeah.
Sasha Velour and Bob
Yeah.
the drag queen, and watching it. Obviously, the show is just like meant to make you just weep, just
Yeah,
weep
and you
endlessly,
do.
and you do. But it's so interesting. It was so touching to see them go to really small towns where, again, it's like these queer people there don't have others to mirror them. There's
Right.
not resources there. There's not the opportunity to meet
Right.
that many others like them. And so when the queens would like blow into town and do like a makeover and everything, and the community would come together. Yes, I know it's produced TV, but that all being said, it's like, no, see, they're there. Like supporters and allies, they are very much there, but it's really hard to find when you have to keep this a secret.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find.
Yeah, that the hiding aspect of all of it really does a number on us.
It
man.
really does. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's I mean, I feel like I've heard my therapist use the word shame for, at this point, 10 years.
Yeah, of course.
And it's like, and it's not just like the clear definition of like being ashamed of being gay. It's not that. It's like, it's so much more beyond that. It's like understanding all the baggage
Yeah.
that comes with a childhood where you're hiding.
Right.
Like all the baggage that comes with that comes out in different weird ways,
Yeah.
including healthy gay relationships. There still can be baggage in there that takes a long time, or for me, it takes years to realize, oh, like this is why I did that.
Yeah.
Like even like the bear thing, it's like my own reaction, my own like visceral reaction to somebody paying me a compliment because of how they liked that I looked was deeply like entrenched in like shame that stemmed from like body dysmorphia that then was sort of reflected by the gay community, but then it's like all of these things wrapped up that I needed the perspective, I needed the distance from, to be like,
Yeah.
oh,
And that just comes with time.
it just comes with time and maturity.
That's why we always say like, we say it gets better.
Yes.
Because with time, your perspective develops.
But I like to say that in terms of the book, it's like I say, like, it gets better, but like I'm here to say it also gets like hard and weird and great,
confusing
and confusing.
messy.
It's like, but it's messy, and that's okay.
Yeah, it gets richer.
It
stops being this like this little just like I don't know what this is, and it becomes this. Yeah, I don't know what this is, but I also am discovering this, and this is kind of confusing, but
and I'm
also
trying this, but I don't know if I like this.
It's exploratory.
Yeah, and that's I mean that is also the beauty of being queer. Like.
Yeah.
As much as it can be difficult to not have this roadmap and to have to find others and things and books and movie, like to find things to help you find your identity, that is a richer experience than just kind of like, you know,
here's how you do it.
Getting, dating, marriage, kids, suburbs, like that's presented to the world, and we have to kind of do it ourselves, and that's has its hard parts and its glorious parts.
Yeah, I feel like that kind of harkens back to a lot of my girlfriends. One of the reasons why they're always like so obsessed with their gay friends, at least the ones in my life, is because they always kind of say that like they're like, I can have a real like in-depth conversation with you. And I wonder if that is something to explore where, you know, straight people, they haven't had to do as much self-exploration and discovery, whereas we've had to dig through layers and layers of, you know, figuring out why I always seek out this type of guy.
Yeah.
And if it harkens back to the fact that I didn't get to pursue any guy in my adolescence.
Totally, yeah.
You know?
And it's a lot of work, which is why I mean I hope, like, you know, at this point I feel like it's so cliche, but like therapy is so important and so helpful. And I think especially for a queer person, a gay person, like having somebody else there, and I always say like a queer therapist of some kind to help you navigate those waters is really crucial. And I can see it reflected in friends and dates and partners who are in therapy versus those who aren't.
Yeah, I think that also kind of speaks to the fact that so much of pop culture and just art was created by like queer people, gay people, because I think that when you have a life that makes you question yourself often, and a life
humanity.
and like you're off center, so you have to find your own space and you have to figure yourself out because you are different from the blueprint of the rest of the like heteronormative world. It makes an existence that's like really solid and thick and rich. And I think when you aren't challenged throughout your life, that creates like a porous experience.
Absolutely.
And when something is porous, it's really fragile.
But I also think too that that's also why I have empathy for people who are like, circuit party, sure, you know, shirtless pics with friends on the beach, on vacation, sure, because it is hard to do that that growth. And so there is, I think, and I have an empathy for this, like an ease in just sort of fitting in and just finding that groove and being like,
it's a safe haven.
It's a safe place. And I've never been able to do that. And so my own feeling has gone from sort of frustration and resentment to it's sort of like a whimsical observation and just being able to sort of laugh at it, you know, and just share that, you know, that's sort of the tone of the book is like having that ability to like step back and be like, huh, That's so,
Yeah.
that is weird. And
Yeah.
that's weird for me. It must be weird for other people too, but let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's not hide it anymore.
That's why I try to pass along that book, The Velvet Rage, to so many people, because one thing I love about it is that it does explain why certain idiosyncrasies of the gay community are there. So it gave me empathy for people who live a lifestyle in our culture that I don't necessarily exist comfortably in.
Totally.
And for a while, I got bitter towards, because I
Right.
was like, that's the face of it, and that's what everybody seems to do, and I don't really fit in that box. And I became bitter towards it.
Of course.
But when you think back on, when you think about what leads so many people to that, you're able to have empathy for, like,
Fully.
we didn't get affirmation from our parents, so now we try to find the most accessible and easiest way to get that from the rest of the people around us, which fitting in is that avenue.
I mean, forget that aside. Like, think about how awkward and uncomfortable it was to be in the throes of puberty, and how like awkward it is to be taught how sex works. It's so weird. And then when you're queer and you're doing it differently, and you have to learn what that is, what you
like in reverse, because it's like
reverse.
we're in sex ed, and I'm like, well, none of this is going to apply to me, because I'm not going to be playing with a vagina.
Exactly, but
So-
but like no one's going to teach you about the prostate or whatever,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that is really interesting. It's like that is literally like you have to survive and figure it out by yourself, if not by trial and error.
Yeah.
And that is wild. Figuring that out is intense.
And that's why we're exhausted, okay? That's why we're all so tired, okay? So if a gay man lashes out at you, it's probably not about you. We're exhausted.
There's a
okay?
history there. There's
Yeah.
a pathology.
Yeah. One last quote that I really connected with, and I think was really quite poignant, was you said, you're talking about like with swiping on like Tinder and on the apps. It says, a quick imprint of nope was stamped on the face of another living, breathing human. We've been virtually disemboweled by the impossible standards served up by a surrealist stew of acetone, porn, and the algorithm.
Yeah. It's just, yeah.
I get like overwhelmed even like just thinking about this. Like, you see, I'm kind of getting emotional because like we have gotten ourselves in a pickle, dude.
Yes.
And it's like a rat wheel that we're on. It's this constant like issue that I think we're recreating for ourselves, where instead of pursuing the like real and authentic and like sentient people that are right in front of us, we keep saying there's something like better out there, as if we all have access to and the potential to be with every other maybe hotter person in the world.
Yes.
And like there are these great people in front of you, and we're holding them to this standard that the media is funneling into our heads, and we just keep saying, but what if something better is out there?
It's really hard. It makes it really hard. The Tinder thing like broke my heart when Tinder came out and I was using it for the first time, and it's almost like subliminal messaging that it would, if you swipe left, and people, it was happened so fast that I didn't even recognize it right away, but at least back then it would stamp it nope, and I was like, that is soul crushing.
Yeah.
To do that to other people and to think others are doing that to me, it's like nope. Like it's so humiliating and it's so devaluing of a human being and their picture. It's like, oh my God. And of course I participated in it. I was using Tinder like anybody else, but yeah, I don't know. It's
catalog shopping for humans.
It's catalog shopping. And I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that is particularly hard, I think, for us as gay guys, because we're still like Neanderthals. We're still, people are like, women have always complained about men, their husbands or partners being, oafish or not knowing how to please them or not being good listeners and all that stuff. Yeah. But like, it's like we are, as gay guys, like we might possess more sensitivity. We might be able to self-actualize more. We might have come from more discord in in the response has been to actually individuate and to mature. But we're still like big hornballs, and so I think we are our own worst enemy because we it is what it is. It's like it's hard for us to not think with our dicks in that way, and so it's remarkable to have to try to contend with that in a world that is so reliant on image now more than before. Like there used to be like pictorials in the 50s or 60s that were disguised as like muscle magazines, but they were like, it was like essentially porn. It was porn for gay guys basically. And then it's like moved into like actual porn, and now like the accessibility of like Instagram and X being like actual porn and OnlyFans being so parasocial, where it's like, oh, this is the real thing. Like it's really blurred the lines. And so I look at Instagram where it's like you can use Instagram however you want to use it without, essentially disobeying or like breaking the rules. But I call it me magazine because it's like your pictures, your videos, it's
curated.
It's curated, which means we as guys, and it's a very thirsty medium, and I'm part of that too, but you're just like, oh, this is now porn.
Yeah.
This is a version of porn, and we're only showing the best version of us, and I'm guilty of that too, but it levels up the playing field where, again, now we only want we want more.
Yeah.
And so you're right, it's that like hamster wheel that never stops. It sucks. It's hard.
What do you think is the end game if it continues like that? And do you think there's a solution to it?
The end game? I mean,
yeah, like how do you see this developing further? And do you think that there's a way for us to right the ship?
I don't know. I mean, gay guys we've always been horny, and we've always been like sex first, sex. And it's easy to sort of like point, like shame that mentality, but it's like that is our like sexual experience.
That's just men in general too.
That's
by
what
the
I
way,
mean.
We just have more access to sex all the time.
Exactly. So when we're doing it for each other and for ourselves, it's a totally different language than what straight guys and straight women have to deal with. I don't know what I predict because I used to get so mad like 10 years ago if somebody was like being a thought or like posting a thirst trap and then using the like caption to be about like charity or building awareness, and it's like that just fell on deaf ears and felt to me like, oh, you're just so arrogant that you're just using this as an opportunity to be both hot and be seen as like philanthropic, whereas now the main language is to be sexy. The main language is to want to be seen and desired. And so I don't know what the next version of that is, but it is really interesting to and it's not just gay guys, it's everybody. It's like,
of course.
You want to be desired. That has become like the currency, I think, on social media.
Desirability.
Yeah, desirability. It's
desirability.
Like that's our like Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like, and that is hard.
Yeah,
because it's always been hard.
And that was because on social media, you're trying to be desirable to every person who comes across you.
Correct.
And that's never going to happen.
Of course not.
And so that's why we're all
Exhausted, that's right.
That's why we're all so tired, because we're trying to get the whole world to be attracted to us.
Correct.
By way of, because I mean, you could say, I don't care what people think of me. I'm not everybody's taste. Sure, of course. But when you make this me magazine on your Instagram, that's what you're essentially saying is, I want everybody who comes across me to desire me.
Which is literally impossible.
It's so futile.
But it becomes, as gay guys, it really does become sort of the currency.
Yeah.
And I'm as guilty as anybody else.
We all are. Everyone is. If you say you aren't, you're lying. Everyone is. Everyone wants to be desirable, and everyone presents themselves in as desirable a manner as possible. That's just human nature.
But I'm just like super sensitive, and so the idea of, I don't know, even like honestly, like even on like hookup apps and stuff, if I'm not interested in somebody, I always try to be polite and say something kind. And some people are like surprised by that level of consideration, but then other people are mad.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, why did you respond?
They're never appeased.
But I can only speak for myself here. I'm trying to treat somebody else the way I'd want to be treated.
Correct. Well,
And I have this sort of this discourse with friends. I have plenty of friends who are like, I don't know, I'd rather you not respond. I'd rather you not respond. I'd rather, that's insulting to be told. But listen, like that's how they feel. I am personally
I'm tired of it, though. I'm just tired. Can everybody calm down?
I'm so sensitive that I'm thinking about other people in my terms of being sensitive, and they might not be.
Yeah,
you know?
Of course. That's just tale as old as time. Like, people are not going to give you the same grace that you give them.
Yeah, and that's a bummer. That bums me out.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
We could do this all day. But I want you to tell everybody where they can find the book, where they can find you.
Sure, you can find the book anywhere you buy books.
Hey.
We love indie bookstores, but you can find it anywhere you buy books. You can just go to eliotglazer.com, or it's all over my Instagram at Eliot Glazer. It's almost too available. I've made it too available. It's like enough of me. It's enough. But
no, it's all about you, baby.
Yeah. Get the book. I think people. I really
it's
hope that
really so enjoyable. I've already passed it along to 4 people who were like, "Oh, you must have got an advance copy because I have to pre-order it." I was like, "That's right, bitch."
Not anymore. It's fully out. Fully out in the world. Yeah, fully available.
Yeah,
and the audiobook too, which is very fun.
There you go. Oh, that was fun.
That was so fun.
Yeah. It's great. It's very celebratory of the self and of self-discovery and of those of us just trying to kind of find our space
and
in
who are
our
tired
community. And who are tired.
It's okay to be tired.
It's okay. You know, it's nice to acknowledge that we're all tired.
We're all tired.
Then you can just breathe.
Let me shoulder that burden in the book, and you just enjoy it.
There you go.
I'm at your peril. I'm at your dispense.
He's so giving. What a martyr. I love it. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, such a pleasure to have you. You guys go out and get the book. Hilarious. I can't recommend this enough. Check out all of Eliot's content. He's been very prolific over the last 5 to 10 years. So just go invest your attention in him. You know, you'll enjoy it. I promise. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time.